Klatt is joining us now, and we have been busy over the last couple weekends in Oklahoma, hanging out.
It's actually debatable. Are these two closer or are these two closer?
Well, I mean, we're like the voice of the Sooners, right?
I don't understand, Skip. Like, normally people enjoy working with me. It's not, it doesn't have to be this way.
I'm not most people.
That is very true. Joel.
Understatement of the day.
Also, I never go to him first because this is how this thing works.
I like it.
You've seen Kyler. I've seen him.
Yes.
Been around him. Is he the kind of guy that has a chance at the Heisman?
I think it's going to be really difficult for Kyler, and there's a couple of things working against him, but there is a path. I think it's narrow, but there is a path. Let me start with what's working against Kyler at this point. One right now is his competition. You know, you hear in a golf tournament all the time, how many guys do you have to pass? Right. It's not where you're at compared to the league. How many guys do you have to pass? And at this point, when I take a look at whether it's straw polls or odds makers, there's too many quarterbacks right now that are generating momentum ahead of Kyler Murray, namely Tua Tagovailoa at Alabama, who's got the brand, he's got the stages, he's got the plays, he's got all of that going. He's got the numbers as well, in particular on third down. 10 of 10 on third down with 4 touchdowns. On third down, Tua's playing great football. Will Greer at West Virginia, he's putting up great numbers right now and has that momentum. And Dwayne Haskins at Ohio State, he's also putting up great numbers. I would put all 3 of those guys right now above where Kyler's at. So he's got the competition to pass. And then there's also this other part. If he doesn't have better numbers throwing the football than Baker, I think that's going to hurt him. Because we just saw Baker in that uniform put up incredible numbers, including back-to-back years in which he set the NCAA mark for efficiency. That's going to work against him. His narrow path, guys, if he can have a Manziel Lamar Jackson-esque effect on the game with his legs, which may happen. Because remember, Rodney Anderson, their starting running back, goes down with a knee injury last week. Horrific news for the Sooners. Feel terrible for Rodney Anderson. But, Shannon, Skip, that's the path. Now, all of a sudden, Kyler's legs become a bigger deal. If he can have that type of effect, that's his path to the Heisman Trophy.
Well, this is the reason I think he can, for the simple fact, brand, Oklahoma, and he's going to put up big numbers. They're going to throw the ball. That's just what they do. And they will depend on his legs a lot more to help facilitate some of this offense. He has 2 great receivers. So when you look at it, he's going to be somewhere around 4,000 yards. He's going to be well over 30. You know, I don't know if he'll be 43-6 like Baker was last year, but we've seen teammates winning in back-to-back years. Matt Leinart wins it one year. Reggie Bush follows up the next year. But Oklahoma needs to stay in the top 5.
Yeah.
They got to stay there because Will Greer is going to put up big numbers.
He will.
Now, don't sleep on that running back from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Now, he's going to be – he might be somewhere around 2,300 yards.
Yeah.
And it's hard to overlook a guy that got that many yards running the football. And then Wisconsin might be a major player in the Big Ten. But right now, Tua is in the driver's seat. Now, there might come a point in time that he might have to get in the passenger seat or he might have to go to the back seat. But right now, the way Alabama is loaded and the way they're positioned, Skip, it's going to be hard for someone to overtake him. Yeah, look, I understand that Hurts came in because the game was going away, but I don't see as they start to move along and they get through tougher and tougher competition, I don't see them rotating as much with Jalen Hurts and Tua as they've been doing in the past. But this kid right here, for what he's doing, and it's about narratives.
Sure.
Oh, the dude played a half, won a national championship. He comes back, playing well, win the Heisman. That's a great narrative, Skip.
It's a great narrative. I would agree. So, just for the record, for what it's worth, several of our rapper friends here on Undisputed have been texting me during the OU games when I'm listening to YouTube, and I'm looking at my phone, and they are into Kyler Murray, especially our man Nelly. He is over the top on Kyler Murray.
Okay.
So, it's starting to hit me that there's some sort of bandwagon rolling because he is fun to watch.
Yeah.
I was a Baker fan. It's just going to be virtually impossible to top what Baker did the last 3 years, let alone this 1 year. But there is mystique to Kyler Murray because obviously he got drafted 9th overall by the Oakland A's. So he is a 2-sport, maybe big star. And you've been watching him.
Yeah.
He's explosive.
He is.
And he carries himself with sort of the dignity of a kid who just knows he's really good at 2 sports.
Yeah.
Right? He carries himself like a professional to me, like high poise. You can just see him operate as if he believes in himself and what they can do in that offense under Lincoln Riley. I've also been watching Tua, and I have never seen anyone get off to a hotter start. It's just virtually flawless what he is doing. He's 25 of 35, but he's 6 touchdowns to no interceptions. As you talked about on third down, he's He's just perfect.
Yeah.
That's all he is perfect. And he has the pressure of a former starting quarterback looking over his shoulder and I think a fairly quick hook because we talked about it. I don't think Nick Saban thinks he's his cup of Gatorade. You know, he just doesn't like the way Tua plays because Tua will take off and run with the football too. Tua will try throws that are kind of risky to me, and he pulls them off.
Well, that roll around in the pocket and just flings it, and the guy catches it.
And it hits him right in the hands.
Nick Saban loves control.
He
and
does.
This is the first quarterback he's had out there. Now, granted, Tua's got the highest ceiling, and we all know that. But he also gives his coach the least amount of control. Right. You know, because you just don't know what he's going to do. He's going to spin around, then throw it into the corner of the end zone. And you're like, no, yes! You know, and that's what he does. I don't think Nick Saban loves that.
Okay, so I'm looking at Alabama's schedule, and it looks like it's pretty easy to me. Will they have trouble at Ole Miss? I mean, I'm looking at marquee big stage games where Tua can make a Heisman statement, where you say, aha. Well, they do have to go to LSU. Is that going to be – that's pretty tough.
Yeah, that's a rivalry game.
Could be, sure.
Okay, but other than that, Auburn at the end of the year, Mississippi, they get Mississippi State and Auburn. And those are two pretty good teams, but they get them in Tuscaloosa. Those Heisman statement games, I don't know. So OU plays at Iowa State. They lost to Iowa last week, so I don't think they're what they were a year ago.
You know, save for running back numbers, which are generally looked at as a total at the end of the season, and it doesn't quite matter what you did in the biggest games. Quarterbacks are looked at very differently, and I think you actually need the close games in order to have those moments. I think that's what Baker had with Ohio State last year, early in the year. And what might work against Tua, this is crazy to say this, Alabama might just be too good. Yeah. You know, I mean, when is he going to be in the fourth quarter in the pressure cooker?
Crazy.
Maybe it's against LSU. Maybe it's against Auburn. Not sure. Maybe it's the SEC championship game until they're in a one-possession game in the fourth quarter. But when you look back to Baker last year, I mean, this dude was 7-0 against ranked opponents on the road. He was lights out in one-possession games in the second half. I don't know if that opportunity is going to be afforded a guy like Tua. That's why if I had to actually lay money down right now, I would lay money down on Will Grier or Dwayne Haskins to win the Heisman Trophy.
Guess where Kyler Murray goes for the final regular season game of this year at West Virginia.
At West Virginia.
That could be a shootout.
Will Grier,
If you think about it, Skip, Baker won the Heisman, but he had 3 years. You could see the building. We talk about, you mentioned Lamar Jackson, you mentioned Johnny Manziel. They had statement games.
Yeah.
Johnny Manziel went to Birmingham.
Tuscaloosa.
And he showed out. Lamar Jackson, even though he lost to Clemson, everybody's like, that's the best player in the country right there.
That game won him the Heisman Trophy.
Right. If Kyler Murray can have one of those games, because he just got on the scene, if he can have one of those games, okay, now he's a major, major player.
And I thought Bryce Love was like a front runner, and now he gets nicked early. And
he's so small, Skip, he's going to stay nicked.
I don't know. They say he might not play this week.
I mean, he's not even the top running back right now. Jonathan Taylor would be the top running back on that list for the Heisman Trophy. It'll be fascinating to see, but again, stages, brands and stages, that's what it comes down to.
And that's why I don't give Will Grier West Virginia. West Virginia, Heisman Trophy. And West Virginia always have that one game. They always have that one game. They always have that one game. You're like, how did y'all lose that, West Virginia?
And the scheduling this week really hurts Will Grier's Heisman chances because they were scheduled to play North Carolina State. That game has been canceled, obviously, with the storm coming. So that was a big non-conference statement for Will Grier. All of these little things affect how voters vote at the end of the season.
Interesting. And Skip, you brought up Kyler Murray and his following. Just for the record, he has more Instagram followers than you.
Really? How would you know that?
Because I do my research.
Do you follow me on Instagram?
Maybe.
Busted.
Maybe. I know you're new to this, but Kyler Murray has you beat. So
I just started
you've got some work
3 days
to do.
ago. I started 3 days
Joel,
ago.
I will see you in Texas.
Anyway?